In this video, I'll be breaking down why this chart is one of the most important in the stock markets right now and you need to be looking at it. We'll also be taking a look at our technical analysis levels for the S&P 500, NASDAQ, Bitcoin, dollar index, and gold to really break down the movements that are coming into April and in fact, what's happened over March and the important areas. This one is going to be good. Stay tuned. Alright guys, well one of the things that we like to do on this channel is to of course have a look and observe what's been happening over the last 24 hours in the market. One of the best ways, always taking a look at this S&P 500 heat map. And you'll notice straight away that banks were under pressure yesterday due to that hedge fund liquidation. Imagine being at the tippity top of the market and actually getting liquidated through margin calls. It's pretty amazing how unsophisticated and undiversified some funds still are out there. Now, I'm sure many people on the channel are doing better than that, but let's have a look at yesterday's movements. So here we have the NASDAQ, the Dow Jones, and SP 500 basically flat. However, at the same time, the Russell 2000 took a massive dive, and this is a clear divergence between hypergrowth 2.81% down and the rest of the markets actually doing quite well. And I think this is because the Russell is just a little bit too high at this stage. It's probably going into a consolidation and really picking out some of the stocks that are good and some of the stocks that are bad after that massive rally that happened through January into February. Remember, euphoria is a powerful drug out there, and many people, this will be the first time ever that they've experienced so much euphoria in the market. Here we have what happened in the sectors, and you'll notice one thing that's interesting. Utilities were actually the #1 sector. Now, utilities and XLP, consumer staples, usually this points to people getting a little bit defensive in the market. So they're not pulling their positions out, they're just rotating into defensive positions that usually happens around highs or points that they think the market is a little bit overpriced. Interesting. We'll continue to follow this on the channel together. The other thing, XLK, technology sector down 0.52, and energy and financials, of course, copying the brunt of the day down 0.87 and 1.19. Let's just quickly talk about our thoughts on April. So April's always usually a historically great month. We've talked about this chart millions of times on this channel. 1928 to 2021, April has been one of the better months to invest in the markets. However, there is one caveat to this, and that is the year after the global financial crisis, the April was actually pretty poor. Now, I hope it's not like that again, but it's a very interesting statistic because the global financial crisis actually ended around March. And then a year later, March into April, it's doing a very similar thing. So we mentioned before that there are some jitters in the market due to that liquidation by the hedge funds. Credit Suisse, JP Morgan, Deutsche, all of these banks definitely going down. But overall, did the VIX really jump up that much? It was up about 9.97%, which sounds like a lot. And it is back above 20, which has been a very, very strong support level for the VIX. But it hasn't spiked a lot just yet. So we'll continue to watch this. But watch your VIX, have it around 20, and of course anything under 20 is usually a more stabilized normal market, and anything above 20 is more of a fearful market. And if you're not familiar with that, you definitely want to be checking out the volatility index on things like the NASDAQ and on the S&P 500, such as that one. Now, what has this led to happening in the market? I think it's clear that we're seeing a little bit of risk off here from some money managers. Not everyone, because otherwise the markets would be dropping across the board, but some people are clearly moving into US dollars. And this trend has been consistent ever since we saw that weekly close above the 20 exponential moving average. The US dollar is now ramping into 93. We probably expect some resistance around that point, and then ultimately it's going to go towards that 94 level, find resistance, and possibly even return to 96. And you'll see here on the weekly why 96, such an amazing support area, becoming a resistance zone. It's really clear to see on the charts that that is the area that I believe many things will be stopped in the future if it ever gets there. But for now, 93 resistance, then 94 will be the next level. And I expect a bit of consolidation around this zone. What's this doing to the rest of the markets? Well, things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other crypto space coins have been doing very, very well. We've seen strong movements up after that initial sell-off. We got through that 56,000, 57,000 area. And now I expect Bitcoin to actually fall down a little bit here and retest from the top down. So we got the closure above. We didn't get to 60,000 just yet, but we did basically close through. So 8 hours and 4 hours are the most important charts along with dailies that you want to be looking at when it comes to Bitcoin, Ethereum, these types of markets. Here we've got the closure above. Here we now have the support. What was resistance will become support just like last time. So if the market comes down here, expect it to meet a 20 moving average on something like a 4-hour chart and then hopefully bounce off. In fact, let's have a look at that together right now. Let's go to the 4-hour. Here we are. And you'll notice, yes, it is going to be there if the market continues to decline. And around that point, what have we noticed? We've got a 1, we've got a 2, possibly we've got a 3 at the point of role reversal. Always cool to check these charts out. And it just shows the power of moving averages, proper structure, and sentiment in the markets. Let's take a look at gold. Gold really has not been faring well. We've had our trend line. When our trend line got broken through, we knew that it was pretty much over for gold and there was no bullish recovery in sights for now. We've had the support being reached several times. These are the charts that we drew up live on the channel. And then we had the massive closure below it yesterday. Now, if gold returns back to the 1722 area, what do we expect? Well, because this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of touch area, we would expect some selling pressure to continue here. And then possibly now gold's down to 1700 or even 1680. As the dollar index continues to rise, it's going to put pressure on gold and silver's doing the same thing. It's under 25. It's now moving towards 24, which will be the next support for silver. At the same time, all this is happening though. US oil is completely different. US oil is actually structuring up, and it's the first time we've featured this on the channel in some time. The reason why, it's actually got structure. We've got clear support here at the 57.50. We have resistance coming through the top. And now if we get a closure above this area here that we've labeled up, we're going to be looking to move towards the 66 again. So it's really worthwhile watching oil at this point. Lots of structure here on the market, and always worthwhile breaking down these and really thinking about, hey, is there an opportunity to the upside? We've got to remember that oil's actually now had a little significant pullback. But more importantly, look at the weekly. Check out these rejection wicks. There's clear demand here for oil. It looks to be strong right now. It looks to be moving through. And if that's your type of trade, then yeah, it's really presenting the kind of right things that you would see in the continuation through a bullish trend. Pullback, nice buy wicks. That's the type of thing that you're always looking for. Let's go over to Tesla now. Well, Tesla, a very tough zone. Clearly 600 has support. I'd be breaking this one down to more than just technicals because you're really catching a bit of a falling knife here. I would be looking for lines. And what I mean by that is you want to have a strong level of buying support all around that 600 levels when it comes to market opens. And you now need this thing at least above the 620 to really solidify the fact that it's rejected once, it's rejected twice. Let's get some follow through momentum on this right now. Points to watch over the week, going to be 650. 650, if it is reached, will now act as some form of resistance, 650 to 660. The reason why, previous structure on the support side will now act as resistance if it does come back up. You're probably going to hit things like 4-hour 20 moving averages at the same point. And of course, any daily closure underneath 600 is going to solidify this back to the 550s, possibly even back to the 500s. So it's not all good news for Tesla traders right now, but at least 600 held again yesterday. Now you want to see slingshot, follow through momentum. It's super important. And guys, I know so many out there want this to happen, and I hope it does for you, but it needs to get through the 620 and then really get back above this structure. It's like NIO. Things are just not looking great on the charts when we start looking at it and really breaking it down. Let's go now to one of the most important charts in the market. And of course, that is going to be the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ grappled with that 13,000 yesterday. It found the resistance as we expected. The day traders sold off that zone. And now in the futures, we've got 12,950. We remain stuck between 12,750, 12,800 and basically the 13,000. We get a close above 13,000. That will expose this level here, which is the 13,175 zone. And then once you get through there from a day trade, swing trade perspective, then you're starting to grapple with the 13,300. But for me, it's not just about the NASDAQ right now in the market. As I alluded to when we started this video, I'm actually looking at this one. And this is the FANG index. And the reason I'm looking at the FANG index is because it's been incredibly consistent at holding the weekly 20 exponential moving average. It's also been all over the place with wicks each way. So when we really break this down, what's happening here? The weekly is not holding low and it's not holding high. It's effectively a billion long leg dojis in here, all really showing indecision in the market. If we get decision, let's say we get decision towards the bull side and we close up above this 4,500 for the week, what's that going to say for the market? We're ready to move to the next level, led by the biggest tech stocks in the index. Now, if we don't move ahead and we move back down and get underneath this 4,200, then the market said, hey, we think it's overpriced. Month of April, you think it's going to be boom? Well, we think it's going to be bust, and there will be further momentum movement down. It's a super critical chart, and these long leg dojis, these indecision candles each way, really point to the market, telling us a clue of we don't really know where we want to go just yet, but we will tell you soon. And this is the chart that you want to be looking at and breaking down on your daily basis. I think it's a very important chart and well worthwhile having there at all points. If we have a look at the S&P 500, look, I've been a little bit slacker on this one, guys, and the reason why is the S&P 500 just really doesn't gel right now in terms of showing us any really strong technicals. We're at the resistance. We're just before 4,000. I don't expect 4,000 to be like, oh yeah, we're going to sell off this zone anymore. Effectively what this is it's coiling before. We've already done what I think is this sell-off before 4,000. Now we're waiting in anticipation to break through it. Have this trend line on your charts. Make sure you've got it there because it's been an amazing point of resistance in the past. Let's see if we do break through and go towards the upside. If it does continue to be a point of resistance, we continue to see rotation into some of these recovery stocks. We continue to see some strength throughout all of those sectors. And I think it's just really, really interesting. Guys, I want to know in the comments down below, what do you think is going to happen for April? Up or down for the NASDAQ? Let me know in the comments down below. Very interested to see what all of you think. All right, well, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to subscribe, hit that like button, and of course, we'll see you live for Tuesday's Stock Market Open here on the channel. Make sure you come and join us. It is a lot of fun. Stay tuned, guys. Bye for now.